Hello, and welcome to the Souls and Simulation podcast. We are your hosts, Devin and Angie, and this podcast provides an alternate view on life after death, processing everything that's wrong and possible solutions on how to get it right in the afterlife.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Here we go. Do you want to start off with, well, I guess first of all, we should introduce what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be looking at three episodes um, of, from actually not episodes, I'm sorry, movies that kind of are, in my view, a metaphor of and Devin's view, as well, of the prison planet that we live in. So we're going to be looking at The Matrix, which most everybody's familiar with. And if you haven't seen the movie by now, spoilers. And then also their fourth one, the Matrix Resurrections. And if you see me keep looking to the right, because I'm looking at my notes here. And then also we're going to be looking at Jupiter Ascending. And interestingly enough, all three of these movies were written and directed by who are what are now known as the Wachowski siblings, but they were the Wachowski brothers at the time, at least at the time the first Matrix was done, and maybe possibly Jupiter Ascending. No, I'm sorry, they were already had their operations when Jupiter Ascending came out. So
Oh, okay.
there we go.
Okay.
Um, and then you said you had some notes upon um, that you just found. Do you want to go over those with the first episode that you?
Sure. Sure. Mine are I don't have many notes on the first Matrix. But one thing I don't think that we're gonna cover today within The Matrix, the first movie, and the last one is the difference between the architect and the
Oh,
analyst.
yes,
Because it switched over around the fourth movie.
right.
So yeah, I had this quote that happened in the second movie, and it was the difference between the different matrices. So the first matrix was created and designed by the architect. And it was, I'll read this quote right here. The architect says, "As I was saying, she, the oracle, stumbled upon a solution whereby nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level." And then he goes on to say,
And you also remember too that they also created it as a paradise, but we rejected that
yes,
automatically.
yes. Yeah, there were two. There was the paradise and then the hellish realm. And the humans, they apparently didn't like either. So like they created like the other one, um, which is just wild to me. But I thought it was important that like he said that we give consent, and also like in this Matrix prison planet that we're in right now, like we gave consent to come here to incarnate, and then we're giving consent through each reincarnation cycle, through the false light tunnel, through the life review, everything to keep reincarnating. Um, yeah, did you want to add anything on that?
I, I just think it's interesting too, as far as the discussion of like the architect was the one behind the first one, and then you have the analyst, which is the second one, which also sounds a lot like to me like a little thing that we're experiencing within the simulation right now, known as a little something called the Great Reset. And there's already been apparently many of those in the past. So there's that too, right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that, so once again, if we're talking about reflections of things mirroring as above, so below, there's a reset here. Is that the resets that they're doing, um, or are the resets they're doing there kind of affecting once? Because I think that maybe there's periods of time where a bunch of us do escape. Otherwise, why do it? Why have a reset? Why, to the degree that I think it's been done, why do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. There are too many people waking up, I think, and they've gotta like change things up there. I feel like I read that everything here could be just a huge, huge experiment on how to just trap consciousness and how to keep finding ways to trap it more. Um,
Well, and I think too with these movies in particular, one of the things that I when even way back when I saw the first one in the 90s,
yeah,
that came out, I didn't like the idea that you have to jack in to like they've got to jack into the so they have to merge to a degree, not their consciousness or anything, but you have to become part like you're but a part of your consciousness is going into that machine to have that experience. And so I think that is something with when you look at I just watched a series on Netflix last night, um, all 6 episodes in one day because it was compelling because it's about transferring consciousness into machine.
yeah,
Woman's getting ready to die. She didn't want to leave her family, so you put this in and they're working on that. That's why we're mapping the brain. So to your point, I don't like I don't like these subplots and these subcontext of like what is the thing this oh not the stimulant that's it's where where they merge. There's a term for it that everybody's looking. A lot of people are. It starts with an S.
um,
Singularity.
okay, okay, yeah,
But,
yeah,
but we
yeah,
have that, and so I think that while there's so much in these in both films that are kind of wait that get again a lot of people even still use the phrase I've been red pilled. So there's a lot in it that wakes you up, but there's also that like subplot that's kind of going into the subconscious of hey it's perfectly normal. I mean in the fourth one the machines are we're all living together.
yeah, yeah,
We're helping each other and no 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 no
yeah,
no. Yeah, I'm
mm,
not a fan. That's one thing about it that I think that I'm not a fan of
yeah,
in that regard.
yeah.
So what the thing one of the quotes was uh we're uncertain about who initiated the conflict, um whether it was basically whether it was them or us. But my favorite part is when he goes, um but we do know it was us that scorched the sky because they thought that blocking out the sun would impede their power, right? Their power source. Interestingly enough, in our world, that's exactly what we are doing. We're
Hmm.
there's this whole thing of them uh, wanting to blot out the sun. So there's that. So I wanted to get your take on that because I thought that was really interesting. It was like, yeah, we are doing that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely with all of the sightings in Florida, right? With people seeing
Yeah.
capturing footage of the double suns.
And
Yeah,
that was actually that week, a few weeks ago, that was seen all over the world.
it was seen all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those two sun things or
Yeah,
whatever
and
that was. Yeah,
yeah. That's been going on for about like people have seen those sightings for the past like I've heard about it the past like 2 or 3 years.
yeah.
And I know there are certain every different nation is trying to like create their own like fake sun and
Like,
there are patents for it. And these machines are like huge. They're massive. Um and then, of course, we're spraying everything like in the skies too to block out like natural sunlight.
So why would you want to terraform? That's terraforming, is what it sounds like to me. And why are we doing that? I don't understand it because they have to live here too. And I'm sorry, I gotta get my computer cord plugged in here. Sorry for the momentary slant in the video here.
It's okay.
There we go. There it is. Okay, back. So, but I just thought that quote was interesting because I was like, that was made in when was the first one? I think it was released in '99. I
Mhm.
think. And yeah, we have that going on. But if you were talking about it, you were a conspiracy theorist or a nut job or you ufologist or whatever. Um, but yet they put it in the movie in that way. So I just thought that was interesting. One of the other quotes was when that I found appealing or interesting is when Agent Smith is like, um, he's like, I have to get out of this place. So even the machine doesn't want to fucking be there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's like, his exact words were, um, this, I hate this place, this zoo, this prison, this reality. That's his exact quote. Um, this, so and then I put here, the machines think it's a shitty prison. The very people that are the enforcers of the machine don't like it either. So I don't know. I think that's interesting, and it makes me wonder: are there because a lot of people believe that a lot of the stuff in the Matrix comes from out of Gnosticism or
Mm.
Gnostic principles. And one of the interesting thing in Gnosticism is one of the archons does awaken, according to some, not all, because there were different sects of Gnostics. But I just thought that was interesting that even the prison guards think it's shitty here. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then also too, I liked when the question that Morpheus asked Neo, what is real, right? Like, and then when he says, well, later on in the movie, he asked him, he's like, so if you die in the Matrix, you die here, and he's like, your mind makes it real. So that's an interesting thing to think about in terms of if you could totally convince your mind that this isn't real, would you just not exist?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, because theoretically, just from a quantum physics perspective, uh, here's perspective. Oh no! Shut up, Siri. Thanks, Siri. Um, but to me, like according to quantum physics, the minute an electron is aware of another electron, regardless of where it is, that makes it real. So are the only reason that we're existing here is because we keep telling ourselves? Or my question would be, who's observing us? We have to be observed in order to exist here by
Yeah.
that principle.
Yeah.
So just food for thought out there. And maybe the cool thing is with people watching, hopefully we'll get some people that can actually comment too to give us some interest, because that's all I think we're really trying to do together by
Yeah.
doing these episodes is not only for us to learn and expand on what we think, but also get input from other people to keep
Definitely.
growing
Yeah.
and helping each other get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, did you have any other thoughts on the first one?
Um, yeah, when you're talking about Morpheus, saying like what is even real, I know he also talked about like uh in that whole scene, he was like, all of this is just like some kind of like sensory input. It's all um like we can't even really tell like if emotions are real, like if love is real. Like love could just be um I don't know, like just frequency and like coding. Um
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of like what Morpheus, like with all of the coding and all of how do we even know that? Like when people are like, "Well, we're getting memory wiped," maybe, but do you even have a memory when you're not outside of this? I
yeah.
mean, that's something to consider. Or because if I mean, I've often wondered if what keeps us here is our fear of. They may not have to memory wipe us at all, right? Like if you get out and you don't know where you come from, because we don't, and you don't know where you're going. Most times, most people stay stuck. Even in life, we see that. Stay stuck right where you are because you don't know. You're afraid of what might be beyond.
Yeah.
And but again, this is just, and it goes to that because we don't know how much of um, quite frankly, when we're here, I think we know very little.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no way to really tell.
Yes.
We just have a bunch of these different thoughts and hypotheses. Um, yeah, yeah. Which is why I think what we're doing is so important because we're asking all the questions instead of just accepting things that are in front of us.
Exactly,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So
any other insights from the first one? Oh, I wrote a bunch of notes. I do think it's interesting to mention. it doesn't really have anything to do with the prison planet theory,
Mm,
but well, I bet it ties into so the Wachowskis, as a lot of people are aware, the brothers are now sisters. They actually had um, transitioned, and I think notably one of Lily Wachowski had said that um, when she was still after transition, that the influence for these is like cyberpunk and anime and all that kind of thing, but also she describes it as um, transformation and transmutation
mm,
of she's talking about it in terms of like of becoming something else, right? And for that, that was like gender ideology for her and her. This always gets hard for me because I don't want to offend anybody, but I also her brother at the time, they're not brothers anymore, but at the time it was a the transmutation of that. But if you expand that out, it's kind of like, well, it is a transformation and transmutation of becoming aware, I think.
mm,
Because I remember after I saw that movie, um, I was depressed for like 2 months because I was like, yeah, that's what it feels like. Am I? And I would wonder, like, I think I was horrified by the vision of the bodies in the pods. That was horrifying in the movie. And then thinking about, am I asleep somewhere?
yeah, yeah,
Or like more terrifyingly to me was, what if, God, this world sucks. And what if we're the dream? What if we're not real in general and something's dreaming us?
mm,
It's so, so those were kind of my reactions to when I saw the movie back in the day.
yeah, yeah. Was this one of their very first like films they put together?
No, no, they actually in '95 they had the movie, which was there's a lesbian subplot in it, but it was called Bound, which was based off these two lesbians that basically knock over the mob
Oh,
in a roundabout
okay,
way. So that was the first one.
okay, okay.
Um, there may have been one other one outside of that, and then you had the two Matrixes, and then you also had them doing. You've got Cloud Atlas, which is by them. They have
Hmm.
a series on Netflix called Sense8, which I've seen. I highly recommend people check that out. It kind of deals with um, these clusters of people on the planet that are in sync, meaning that they can choose to simultaneously experience what the other one experiences.
Mm,
But then you also have their gifts. So like um, there's like there's just a black man, and then you have this Korean actress, and the black man's in Africa, the Korean actress, the Korean actress, but in characters in Korea, he's getting his ass kicked in Africa, but she actually. So when they're filming the scene where the fight actually occurs, you see her doing it, but it's actually him. It's supposed to be just him, but it's like she takes over him, and she's kicking ass, and he calls her the spirit of Jean Claude. It's kind of funny, but it kind of like when I was watching it, my girlfriend was like, she goes, "Why are you watching an orgy? Because if they're all having sex with their individual partners at one time, for them the experience is if as everybody's because everybody's interchangeable. So they're kind of trying to show that in there." And I told her, I go, "No, it's not about that." I was like, "It's not even. They have this connection." Or they're connected, so therefore they're having the you know this experience, and so they're and how do you convey that on film? But anyway, I highly recommend people checking that out too. It took Netflix like it was like they did the first season, and then we had to wait 2.5 years, I think it was, for them to come out with like 8 more episodes,
oh,
and
okay.
then for the second season, and then once those 8 episodes came out, you had to wait a few more months because this it was filmed on I think it was like 7 different countries. The budget was ridiculous for it, and that's why Netflix had to. So if anyone's so inclined, go check it out. But that's kind of um, the Wachowski filmography that, and there may be some other side projects and things they've been involved with. But as far as, oh, Jupiter Ascending, which we're going to cop, that is there too. So there's that.
Okay.
So, um, and so did you want to move on to Resurrections, or did you have more on the first one?
Yeah, I had one more quote, and it was from the architect. And he says, "Hope, it is the quintessential human delusion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness." Um, yeah. And I
Yeah,
thought, yeah, what are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, unfortunately, I hate to admit he's right. He is right. Um, and is that one of the ways in which we're getting tripped up when we cross over,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe there's um, using those things. So I think what will happen, I suspect, I think that's kind of, I kind of alluded to this to you before, where like this is another movie, but it's Ghostbusters. At the very end of the movie, you've got this being that's basically addressing Ray and asking, "Are you a god?" He goes, "No," and she's like, "Well, then die." And then the guys tell him, next time somebody asks you if you're God, you say yes. So he's already admitting. I found that, like, in lieu of what we're talking about, you're already admitting weakness already, right? And then she says, Gozer, the destructor's coming, choose. And they all put it together and like, oh, I get it. Like, what you think is going to be the thing that we create
Yeah.
to destroy ourselves. And so clear your minds, clear your minds. And I think when we move on to that point of what he's saying, our greatest weakness and our greatest, if you don't have anything that you carry with you, or again, you've mentioned emotions being possibly part of the matrix, right? Maybe you're not supposed to be carrying that stuff. And maybe you're not supposed to be like attached. My thing is anything that connects you or attached or is attached to you, whether it's your, like, using your family, your children, anything to get you to come back,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and we know that like looking at the life reviews either in the NDEs or Life Between Lives, like they will use your family or anything that you have not cleared that you're holding on to that, guilt and shame stem from. They're going to use that and trick you, say, okay, no, you didn't fix this. Like, look how it affected them. And usually even they'll show us, okay, this is how it affected them. And it's so like not true how it affected them. But they use it to keep us reincarnating and stuck in this cycle.
Well,
Uh,
and from that perspective, since if you really think about it, if we're just, I mean, I don't even know what that means to say we have, the only way I can liken it to is electricity. Electricity is not good or bad, it just is, right? If
yeah,
we're energy outside, then we're not good or bad.
yeah,
Therefore, how that's, I think that's the thing, is like you don't even have to realize, you don't have to work at non-attachment, because if you just go, well, wait a minute, my family then technically isn't my family. I mean, I think we're connected as far as wherever we came from. That, but you might have come from a different place from your energy source may have come from a different place from mine, possibly. But we're not related outside of, just like we're not related. We're human. Yeah, and that, see, that's the thing. We're human beings, so you could say that we have that in common, right? So maybe we have some sort of energetic relationship. So, but if you die, think about this, and your children aren't really your children on the other side. Yes, in life they are, but they use that connection against you, and it doesn't mean anything on the other side
yeah,
the way that it does here. Then you're getting duped into something based off again, bullshit.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's funny that we do. I mean, this might get into some stuff where I might get some flack for saying this, but I mean, it's kind of crappy that it's like, well, hey, I'm like, this is my cousin, my brother, or whatever, my sister, and yeah, I wouldn't let them starve, but I don't care about the person down the street. What sense does that make? So it doesn't matter that you're a human being. So to me, what that kind of is like doesn't matter that you're a human being. It only matters that you're a human being and how you relate to me. That's
Yeah.
how our world
Yeah.
runs.
Yeah.
And maybe it wouldn't be such a hellhole, and maybe we wouldn't be peddling out so much loosh if we didn't act that way. If we wake the fuck up and be like, oh well, wait a minute, because we have to. I think there is a part of this where while we're living, we do have to take some ownership of what we're doing too. You
Yeah.
know, and wake up in that regard. But anyway, I see I'm getting off talk. I kind of veered off there.
No, it's okay. All right. Um, yeah. So do you want to move on to the Matrix Resurrections now?
Yeah, I thought when that came out in 20, I think believe it came out in 2022. Interestingly enough, so you have this, the role of Trinity gets really all elevated here, right?
Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah.
what's going on around that time?
Yeah.
We're coming out of Me Too. All of the stuff, the Weinstein trials going on. I
Mm,
mean, uh, and so I really always find that interesting too, how no matter how they use media and put things within it that because if you think about it, if it was released in 2022, they were filming it as COVID's kicking off, and that was literally right after the Me Too movement, and you have all this women empowering stuff going on. Not that I'm against that, um, although I do think wearing something that looks like a vagina on your head, I don't see how that's supposed to make a political difference in the world. And I don't know, but so I thought that was interesting. And then you also had well, I'm trying to get my phone to cooperate and get the notes pulled up on it. I thought um, the whole thing of them, you have bugs, the name of the characters. I
mhm,
was like, that sounds like it, like computers get bugs. And
mm,
she's the wrench in the analyst machine by going into that modal,
yeah.
seeing that scene play out where he had the storyline going on behind the game in that modal.
Mhm.
Um, so I thought that was interesting. Bugs ended up becoming the bug and the analyst program.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also you could also say that like Bugs, rabbit following the rabbit. Neo had to follow the rabbit
Yes,
to like wake up and get out.
yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, because he followed the white rabbit in the first one,
Yeah.
and he follows her and and Bugs in the second one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what see that is I've seen. That's why we have to do these together because I miss stuff. Because this stuff is it's hard stuff to um it's a big topic and
Yeah.
nobody's not one person can figure it out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Tony, we need like Tony Sayers, we need like the people for which by the way, if he ever watches this, we want to interview you. I'm speaking serious. I'd love to talk to you and I'd love to talk to the sovereign soul people too, maybe at some point.
Okay. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So and if anybody's listening to this and you watch them, put a bug in there about coming on here. Um, I'm sure all of those people would be gracious to do it. I think these
Yeah. Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Tony's been on several different podcasts, but
Yeah. Yeah, he does. One thing I wanted to add, along with like everything you've been saying, the Matrix was such, I mean, all the Matrix movies are such like mind fucks, you know? I can't think of I feel like that's the right word for it. But in Matrix Resurrections, they totally place like mental illness on Neo and make him seem like, oh, like you're sick in the head, like all of this is made up. And how
in the
true is
field,
that for like society now? like, oh, I don't know, mental illness in itself. When people experience dark nights of the soul or go through psychoses, a lot of them are just like on the, not to speak for everyone, but they're seeing reality for what it is. In some cases. Uh,
I think that's why people are, I mean, I think that's why the drug addiction, right? Either they have us on drugs for something, right? Health
yeah,
wise,
yeah,
and your health breaks down why? Because it's a shithole here. But then you also have people drugging out on drugs for the same thing, which, like you said to that point, I mean, even that song actually that I sent you about how to be a millionaire by ABC, there's a line in it where he says, if we have to live there, you'll have to drug me.
oh,
Because if you have to live in the world that we have, that he
yeah,
described in 1984 in that song, where we're at today, you'll have to drug me. And what's going on? We're
yeah,
on drugs.
yeah. Look at Western medicine. It's just terrible, terrible. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And half the time, it never addresses, you notice that too, it never addresses cause. You just, you're just, you're just taking stuff for symptoms. I mean, I'm right now, um, the side note, I have MS, and I'm actually considering not taking they had me on something called Ocrevus. I took one dose of it already. You get like their infusions every 6 months, but I'm destroying my B cells in my body, and it's not. I still have the disease, so to this point, it's like just like him. You maybe it's like maybe I need to just accept reality. Sometimes we have to do that, just accept it. Like, yeah, it sucks, whether you're depressed or, and I'm not giving any advice, I'm just saying, I think a lot of times we're trying to avoid.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that highlights to, that was a great point you brought up. It keeps you blind,
yeah,
right? We're taking in this case, they're having to take the blue pill over and over again. And notice when he gets out, what do they say? He's like, you got to they have you on that junk for so long,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so maybe we're better off if I mean, because sometimes, like, I'm going to go way out there on this one. Um, I resent being in a human body. I resent it. I have to eat, which is part of the system. Oh, and my favorite thing is the fact you have to pay money for that food, which is going to become what? Crap. So I don't know if anybody thinks about that or not. I do. I'm like, I, I have to spend this money, go through the process of eating, and half of it's horrible. Most of it's horrible for you. By the way, food in general, even if you're eating right, it's an oxidation. It oxidizes the body. Oxygen oxidates the body, but you have to breathe. We're just this weird, needy. I mean, why would any soul want to inhabit this body? It's so great. The human body's amazing. Is it really? I don't think so. We have a subconscious that just records stuff. It can't do anything else. It's like the Zoom. It's just recording, right? And if it doesn't serve you, it doesn't go, hey, that's bad. Let's kick this out. Nope, it just records.
mm,
That's not amazing. That's stupid. We have stuff that works better in electronics than the subconscious does. So that's dumb. The brain, yeah, that has problems too because it can be programmed, and if it's programmed with bad stuff, you don't recognize it, so it just keeps running, and you have to, for lack of a better term, debug it just like you would a computer. You have to deprogram.
yeah,
So somebody tell me, please, you break a bone, does it just reset itself when it has to be reset? No, it can't. If your central immune system, like with my disease, is fucked up, you're screwed. Like that's it, you're screwed. Like it. So to me, I think that ideology of a lot of stuff is kind of, I think that in the fourth one, I do think it highlights, I hadn't even thought of that, they brought it up. It highlights a lot of my own misgivings about being here in a body. I don't
yeah,
know about, I mean, I don't know how it affected you when you saw that, as far as being addicted on that junk, like that they pointed out to him and
yeah.
portraying him that way. that he was trying to. How do you see that? Like he was trying to tell everybody what was going on, that it felt real, and he's being gaslit.
Gaslit. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, because you can't talk to anybody like you don't discuss this outside of. I mean, really me, right? Because you don't have a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to put my thoughts out there on social media right now, but yeah, I feel like I have a couple friends who are supporting me and they're liking it, but other than that, I feel like it's people just don't want to think about it. It doesn't feel good to them, and if it doesn't feel good to people, they want to push it away. They want to avoid it. They want to, keep doing things that make them feel good or things that are, you know, their old patterns, whatever they may be. But yeah, yeah,
No, I agree. I think that's part of the human condition too. Is well, like I was saying earlier, we really we've really got to start looking at our role, and that would be part of it, right? If you're not even willing to look at it or even entertain it, because um, we don't even really deal with death, right? I mean, people pay money to look like they're, on their 70s, they're paying money to look like they're in their 30s or 20s,
yeah,
right? Anything to avoid aging, anything to avoid, because what does aging mean? Aging means you're closer to dying.
yeah,
Um, and so, but yeah, I think the other thing in the fourth one too was like how the swarm mode thing, something about that. I feel like, okay, so that was like in a way for the Matrix to defend itself, right? It's trying to defend itself against the two of them. So you get swarm mode where you got everything going off all at once, kind of coming at them. And in a way, I kind of feel like swarm mode happens here in terms of narrative control,
mm,
and or trends or perpetuating trends. And I'm like, so when everybody jumps on a bandwagon, in terms of trends, stuff that's not political or stuff that's not in the news,
yeah,
ever since I watched that, I'm like, oh, swarms in effect.
yeah,
And everybody's the NPCs, along with I didn't have that term at the time till I started talking to you, but the NPCs, but then some of us are falling for the trend, or when they push like narratives. So, like for example, anytime there's a political candidate like Trump or Hillary on both sides, you have people that go in swarm mode, and that person can do anything and say anything.
yeah,
And sorry about that. And it won't matter because they're in swarm mode. They're told something and they just follow it blindly,
yeah.
regardless of what the person says. So I kind of see that playing out in that way. I don't know if that makes sense to you or anybody else that listens to this, but kind of like, yeah, we already have that going on here.
Yeah, yeah, that hive mind, that hive.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, and earlier when you had even brought up the swarm mode, I was laughing. Have you kept up with the have you seen people like with the Labubu trend? The
No, but
Labubu? Oh, you haven't? Oh, I think it's maybe something for like the part of my generation, but everyone is just has been obsessed these past couple months about these little keychains that are like these little like bears with human faces with like sharp teeth. I don't know, but it's been like um a hive mind, like it's a trend. Everyone has had to have one. Like it came from nothing and it was just a huge just obsession, a trend. So I was laughing at that just because it is like a total just the either NPCs or society they just get hooked on something and it's just all they are about fixating on it.
that's no, I hadn't heard of that. It sounds horrible. The way you described it, this does sound like something I, to each their own. But that sounds horrible. But yeah, like to that point, it's exactly. Um, uh, I mean, and just in general, the degree to which um I mean, I'm getting to the point where I've always been a lot this way, but in some ways, I joined groups like the whole goth subculture thing. That was
Mm,
a group, but in terms of how I dressed, I didn't care. I didn't care if I had colored hair and what people thought of it. And I think you have to have a little bit of that attitude to, because now that's always been with me. But now I'm to the point, like even doing this video, I don't even care if people want to comment on my. I don't care what you think of my appearance. I just don't care because none of this stuff matters. None of it matters. I mean, the amount of importance that what's behind that. And so after watching Matrix 4, I go, oh, that's what's behind it. That's some sort of jacked up programming.
yeah, yeah,
Or like a flaw in the programming that makes us as humans have that propensity to just, you know, jump out a window and fall to the ground. And, people would be like, well, we're not doing that. Oh, I don't know. There's people that will lose their ass gambling. They've got a gambling problem. They can't get out of it. There's people who lose their ass. Like, I think people through programming and getting involved in things with other people that destroy them all the time. Just not that immediate to where you're willing to throw. And some people are. Some people are willing to throw themselves in. I don't know. People join the military all the time
yeah,
by large numbers in every country in the world.
yeah,
Kind of the same thing, So I don't know, but I just thought that was the swarm mode thing was fascinating. Um, and I also thought it was interesting when he tells them that you honestly, when he's basically like, you honestly think that you're going to change anything
yeah,
before he succeeded, like, um, oh, and also I forgot about this. I almost forgot about this. The quote from Sati when she says, "The most important choice in Neil's life is not his to make." And
mm,
when I saw that, when I first watched it years ago, that whole quote that she says, it really bothered me because I was wondering, do we even have choice? That's where I went with that. Do we
yeah,
that in our lives the most important choice as to whether it exists at all isn't ours to make. And then that got me thinking, yeah, because you know what? I didn't ask my parents to have me. I
yeah,
didn't ask them. And I'm pretty sure that I didn't agree to come here. I think I was shoved in this. I think my soul was just crammed in this body. I don't think I wanted to come. So, and maybe by the way, for everybody, she's not plugging this for her. I am. She's an awesome hypnotherapist. I'm just saying. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because maybe we'll have one of those and we'll figure out if that was the case, if I was actually
yeah,
but I recommend anybody check out. She didn't know I was doing this. I didn't know I was going to do it today either, but I think it's only fair to say that and you tell them your name, tell them the name of your.
yeah. So I do hypnotherapy and past life regression, and my business is called Soulful Alignment. And yeah, you can Google search me. I do online and in-person sessions. So
And I think just so for the sake of transparency and honesty, I
yeah.
can honestly say she and I are talking like we've known each other for a long time, and literally just met in June because I was actually seeking her for hypnotherapy, and I don't know how we got on the subject at Present Planet, but we did, and we kind of bonded over that, and so this wasn't an intentional thing, and then we decided to start the channel. So just a little history on all of the souls and simulation um, origin there. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I thought, did you have your things that stuck out to you from episode 4? Or, I mean, episode, I don't know why I'm stuck on
It's
episodes.
okay. From
Um,
I mean, you can think of it like episodes, but yeah, the episode 4. Yeah, I mean like Star Wars movies, they're in episodes. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'll just call it what it is, Resurrections. It was the Matrix Resurrections. So, Anything else stick out to you from that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a couple different quotes I wanted to read. So one thing, so as Neo is still like trying to remember like the truth of everything, and he's really going through it with like all of these like he's being gaslit by his therapists and his the people that are monitoring him, his coworkers and everything. He's in the bathroom stall and he looks up at the stall and written on the bathroom stall, it says, "It's so much simpler to bury reality than it is to dispose of dreams." And so, yeah, I felt like that kind of like tied in um, like all of the movies together. And I'm going to read like a Reddit comment, but it said, whether it's a sense of self, self-actualization, love binding people together, our search for the authentic in a sea of illusion, or the self-referential look into the filmmakers or audience's experience of the Matrix films, it's a warning and also a call to action. Um, so I don't know. I thought it was a good quote. Um, yeah, like
Oh, it is amazing.
yeah,
Well, and what the Reddit user said too, I think, that maybe it's a mistake. I know, like, because Buddhism, right? No, everybody's talking about get to know thyself. What if the self is false? The self that's here. I mean,
yeah,
my personality, I'm not really this Angela Milton. Think about
no,
this.
not at all.
That's a persona.
Yeah, just right in
And
this moment.
what use is a persona if you're not physical? If you don't have if you don't have a subconscious and a brain and all of the things that, I mean, look at it this way. When people There are people who go and have, I've known two cases where people have brain surgery, or even surgery in general. Here's another one: surgery in general, go under anesthesia, they wake up, they come back, they're not the same person. They have memories of their life, but their personality completely changed. And
Mm,
they can't get it back no matter how much therapy or whatever. What's that about?
really? Oh,
Yeah, oh yeah. There's like one guy came back completely like, he's a really loving individual, came back cold, callous, um, no feeling or whatever. And okay, here's a case in point. So, and this kind of, I was going to tell you this story anyway, but I don't know the actual name of it. If I think if you play around in Google, you can type it in, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, and it's from memory, but it's so a man um, had uh, has this loving wife, loving family, and essentially he, before he knows it, he's got there's this red lamp in the house. And at nighttime, he just, first it starts off for a little while, it catches his attention, and something unnerves him about it. And then before you know it, over the course of time, he just starts spending more and more time staring at this lamp. And um, basically, he starts losing interest and everything. And um, his wife's trying to get him to snap out of it, and he just has this unease. And then all of a sudden, he wakes up. When he wakes up, that world with the lamp, that house, that family, everything is gone. And in this reality here, and the life he's living, he had been unconscious for a fraction of 10 minutes.
yeah,
In 10 minutes time, he lived a whole lifetime
yeah, yeah,
elsewhere. Here's the thing: he's still to this day, he's the one who wrote it. He wrote this account, and nobody can find him. He doesn't. He basically says that to this day he suffers because he feels like he lost that family. He's grieving for this wife and the children that he had. Um, so that kind of goes to this thing that you're talking about within that quote, right? Like it's what does that even mean? But it's so, in terms of uh, he couldn't let, like, that's the thing, he couldn't let go of that nagging. There's something else I'm not getting. He couldn't let go of that. Um, and then he goes and tries to get help. Well, somebody please explain to me how going to a therapist is going to help you with any of this. How's going to your medical go to your medical doctor and tell them, hey, I don't think reality is real. Can you give me something for that? Good luck. Tell your therapist that they're going to start throwing back like schizophrenia. They're going to
Yeah.
start throwing all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
where do you go? You know, is that just regular water, or are you drinking
Oh, it's just regular water.
just regular water? So,
Yeah.
because I noticed when people have special containers, a lot of times they're drinking electrolytes.
Oh no, I have like a reverse osmosis water filter, but
Oh, cool.
I don't know.
You have clean drinking water then.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I had a couple of other quotes from the analyst, uh, if you want to hear them. So the first one goes, oh, hold on. Okay. So it goes, the analyst is talking to Neo at the very end, and he says, you ever wonder why you have nightmares? Why your own brain tortures
Oh,
you? Yeah, it's actually us maximizing your output, Loosh. And it works just like this. Oh no. And he's like, okay, can you stop the bullet from hitting Trinity? You know, if only you could
yeah,
go faster. How many have you ever had dreams where you're like running, but you can't run
yeah,
fast? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes, here's the thing about feelings. They're so much easier to control than facts. Turns out in my matrix, the worse we treat you, the more we manipulate you, the more energy you produce. It's nuts. I've been setting productivity records every year since I took over, and the best part, zero resistance. People stay in their pods, happier than pigs, and shit. The key to all of it, you and her, quietly yearning for what you don't have while dreading losing what you do. For 99.9% of your race, that is the definition of reality. Desire and fear, baby. He's like, just give the people what they want, right? Um,
So what do you think? I really want your take on it.
yeah,
What do you think that is? Because think about that is us in a nutshell.
yeah,
And does that have anything to do? See, I'm struggling with I can get behind on the present plan. I can get behind all of it. My problem though is regardless of what they are or not doing, we are still responsible for our own behavior. And so to that question to you, I think that too. What do you say to that? Like, I mean, most of us are running around doing some really screwed up shit just on a daily basis.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, look at how people drive and tell me, that's not the Matrix telling you to drive your fucking car like that.
It's no, no,
So
but
you tell me what that's about.
it is all of the conditioning that's been put on us, all of the,
No,
repressed emotions, everything that we've been told since like we could walk, we've been programmed to believe a certain way. And, the generational trauma, the way our parents raise us, we're so built on like, I don't know, just difficultness and trauma. Um,
well, the quote Marilyn Manson, Manson said everything's based off fear and consumption.
what was that?
Marilyn Manson was
Mm.
always quoted as saying everything's based off of fear and consumption.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Tony Sayers says everything basically the same thing. Like the whole premise of everything is built off consuming.
Yeah,
Something has to, in order to even live, something has to eat something else.
yeah.
But
And it's like sorry, as above, so below. Like they're,
oh
consuming
yeah,
our energy. And then what are we doing? We're consuming so many different things. And it's just like, you know, that type of thing.
yeah, that is true. I never well, and that's what cracks me up about like and I'm just saying I feel I have every right to say this. I was raised as I have a Catholic background, a Christian background, and then kind of dabbled in other religions, and then even as far much recently in a bunch of different New Age stuff. Um, and I gotta say that I find it funny the apologies that are made for well, I don't care what religion it is. Like Buddhists would basically say, "Hey, life is suffering, and once you, but it's a choice." No, no, it's not. I mean, if you you don't have a, there's some things in which yes, you can't avoid, but there's some things where even if you do everything you can right, you can still be in a car accident and end up mangled and in pain the rest of your life from your body not healing correctly from it. Or Christians, God has a plan. There's a reason for everything, or whatever it is. It's like the amount of, why can't we just say what it is?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And then the things that it gets explained called sin. Who's sin? Oh well, because I mean, honestly, the whole idea of some like from the Christian perspective of everything's wrong in the world because somebody ate an apple. Please spare me. Spare me. And then I like it when people say, well, we all put Jesus on that cross. Really? Because there's been times I put my ass on the line for somebody who wasn't as great as a guy described on that.
Yeah.
So, no, I wouldn't have killed, and I don't. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want to kill. I even would have an issue defending myself. I would do it, but I'm saying I wouldn't feel good about having to take the life of another person to defend myself. So why would I just kill an innocent person? I'm not, you know what I mean? Like that whole idea, just if you just look at it in those terms, but this stuff of like the like Anna was saying, like I don't, I just it's just hard to. I guess it's just everybody's programming, right? We get programmed with our own stuff, and then we're reacting out of it. We're
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
and I guess that's why we're doing this is to help other people wake up and keep waking ourselves up so we don't go back to sleep. I guess.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Because I've met you, I do feel like I've been asleep my whole life. I'm 53 and I feel like I mean, and I say I'm waking up, but it also feels like I'm waking up to like it was easier when I slept because now it's like it's a nightmare when you see how it really is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the being here is a nightmare.
Yeah. All those like false senses of hope we get to like, release ourselves from living in this kind of world of delusion where everything's okay. And we have to like really look at like the hard truth of reality. And it's, man, I feel like if you're new to this way of thinking, or even if you've like been in it for a while, like um, you will go through that process of like, holy, like it's gonna feel dark and possibly like really, you're gonna have to process a lot of this. And yeah, yeah, I lost my train of thought there, but um, yeah, yeah,
I think it was on the whole like it being a nightmare and coming to terms with it. That's the train of thought you're on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I can't remember, but I have another quote. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is further on in the end scenes. The analyst goes, he's talking to Neo about like why he's doing everything. He's like, because I know the system, I know human beings, I know you. Right now, you're feeling good about what you've done, and you should. It was a victory. But now you've come here to negotiate. But here's the thing, the sheeple aren't going anywhere. They like my world. They don't want this sentimentality. They don't want freedom or empowerment. They want to be controlled. They crave the comfort of certainty. And that means you two, back in your pods, unconscious and alone, just like them. Um, so yeah, it's just kind of going on. We're like, people are just comfortable. Like they um, are comfortable in their ways. The reality is just too, I feel like it's earth-shattering.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, the pod thing. Do you know that like whenever I've thought about like am I asleep somewhere, that I wonder about that ever since I saw the first Matrix, that whole uh which is a story for another time. I think because I was thinking we should do an episode on plant medicine and how that ties in, right?
Yeah.
But another reason I mentioned that here is because when I was on I did mushrooms last in 2024. I don't recommend it, and that was one of the things I kept being forced to face my fears, and one of them was, and I wonder if that's how I keep coming back here, but what if I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what if I'm alone? Like what and like wherever I go, I'm gonna be alone. And so what does that look like? And that idea on the surface, like from the perspective of being here, that's terrifying. Just I mean, even listening to looking at some of the stuff I looked at with the Gnostics and the monad just being there
Yeah.
without form, without thought, without it just is. What is that? What would that be like? But then I have to calm down and be like, well, when I meditate now,
Mm.
actually after our sessions, I don't have a lot of that. I don't have stuff that's coming in because I
Yeah.
think I was channeling stuff, and I think some new agers and stuff like that. We can get into that in another episode too. But I think some stuff was being left with me, um, and even my own things I was inviting in unknowingly, but now I don't have that stuff, and so it's quiet, and it's okay, it's safe.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's not it's not a bad, but you have to sit with that because on the surface it seems um it seems scary, but and then also I did have that same quote that you did.
Yeah.
And then I also had, do you remember when Agent Smith appears um, at the very end after he shoots the analyst out of, and he goes, the difference between us, Tom,
Mm.
is anyone could have been you, whereas I've always just been anyone. And after he says that, he becomes the person that he. I I've often thought about that too, like um, in terms of our personality is is part of that kind of idea of like, why do we limit ourselves in terms of our skin color, like all of these things that we think define us that aren't have nothing to do with us, right? Like
Yeah.
anything we could be, and we so just in terms of the stuff that you and I are talking about here, how we're limited, like we limit ourselves because we're not aware, but even while we're in it we limit ourselves in the stupidest of ways,
Yeah.
which kind of goes to your quote about him saying like, you're happy like pigs in shit. We are, as long as we think we're safe,
Yeah.
you know. I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that quote.
Hmm. Yeah.
Did you have any more from it or any more thoughts on that episode?
So I not on the episode, but did you see the end credits or the scene after the end credits
Oh yeah.
about the cat tricks?
No, I wait. No, I didn't.
So after you watch through all of the credits, there's one little like short snippet. And so I have it. I have the quotes right here, and it's of the people that made all of the Matrix games, like in the
Oh,
movie. And they're trying to find a new way, a new thing. So one guy says, okay, face reality, people, movies are dead, games are dead, narrative dead. And then another guy says, media is nothing more but neuro trigger response and viral conditioning. Then another one says, wait, what are you talking about? Then
oh,
one guy says, cat videos. What we need is a series of videos that we call the cat tricks. Um,
that's
so
funny.
yeah, yeah, just like another way, okay, like they were just saying, okay, all of these ways of programming and conditioning people, they're dead. What's the new thing we can do? Which really ties into like where social media is at today with the younger generation
Oh
and like TikTok and everything.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so uh I just thought
No,
that.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even think to wait till the end credits.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you meant like um, because even Michelle thought it was over after they flew off
Mm.
after the building thing, and so I thought you meant like when they fly back in to meet the analyst and all that, like that conversation that they had. That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
But and I actually had reference in my notes to speaking of cat, the fact that first of all you have deja vu. Why did they name the cat that? I get it, like because they reprogrammed the scene, so it's the same scene, but it's going to have a different outcome. They've changed a few things in it, so I get that part of it. But it's interesting that they use a black cat, which is always has some, has always had esoteric and witchy kind of, scary Halloween. Hello, how many black cats as far as like for decoration or whatever. So I found it interesting that they chose those two things and then decided to name the cat deja vu, and that's but in both, like you actually the cat has to be present, right? The first one you see it walk past, and Neo sees it again, and he's like, um, "Oh wow, deja vu!" And they all turn around, look at me, and they're like, "What'd you see?" And he's like, "A black cat walked past," and then another one wasn't, and then in this one though, the analyst always tends to be holding it quite a lot often,
Oh, yeah. You're
very
right.
possessively.
Yeah. Yeah.
In his office. It's with him all the time too. It
Yeah.
was with him present at the office, and then um, when the one scene time when he almost gets out and he doesn't, and he convinced him it was a dream. Once again, he's holding the cat.
Oh, yeah.
Cat isn't seen with anybody; it just walks by. And the first one, but this time there was that whole, you know, him holding it or whatever.
Mm,
Um, and I've even wondered that too, like in terms of deja vu, as far as that goes, or them changing something. Like I've had a whole like problems with sleep over. Like I don't like sleeping overnight. I don't know what it is. I'd rather sleep during the daytime than at nighttime. Um, so I don't have an issue with sleep. Although for most of my life I didn't get a whole lot of it. I've missed a lot of it, but I've often wondered why. And I think part of it too is like I wonder what's going on while we're sleeping. Are they changing, like,
like
I
Dark
don't,
City.
it's weird, it's
Yeah.
like and there is something I can say this. There is something significant. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to say. um I do think there's some, the veil is, of course, to spiritual people, they interpret that differently, but I do think that you can get more, I don't know, so like between two, especially 2 and 4 in the morning.
Mm,
um
yeah.
Like, for example, I can walk better. Why is that? This is MS. So damage is damage, whatever. But I can move around better at 2 to 4 in the morning in my house if I happen to be up at that time. I feel better from 2 to 4 in the morning. That's the best. No matter how much sleep I could actually like not sleep for like a day and still, which I feel like shit, and still, so I don't know, there's something significant about that too, for me anyway. And then a lot of spiritual people talk about how the veil is thin between those hours.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I know. I was just reading about this the other day. But like the witching hour in
Yeah.
media or whatever, they say it's kind of between like 12 and whatever. But I've heard that the real witching hour is usually between 3 and 4. And I don't know if this is like some like weird peak moment in when they can like loosh off of us when we're sleeping. That's when like a lot of people have like nightmares and like a lot of scary things happen between 3 and 4. And I think it's yeah, like maybe the veil is a little bit thinner there. And maybe that's when they can really, really just peak like harvest off of us.
Well,
But
then I'm not going to sleep anymore between,
well,
I'm going to set my alarm to wake up
Yeah, you
I
know
don't
what?
like being asleep during that time anyway.
Yeah, just or you could like learn how to lucid dream.
I've been doing that a little. I can't always do it though. Like
Oh,
I'm gonna keep working on it, and maybe I'll get better.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm always and that's been once again since we've done the hypnotherapy work, I've been able to do that.
yeah, that's good.
Just not with consistency. So, um, but yeah, uh, I'm trying to think of what else I thought was interesting with the. Well, one thing I wanted to mention at least in reference to, I didn't see. Oh yeah, so Jupiter Ascending, The Matrix 4, Resurrections, and Sense 8. There's people, the Wachowskis love working with the same people
Yeah,
in the movies. So, okay, remember me telling you about the spirit of Jean Claude in Sense 8,
yeah,
the little Asian woman that you see on one of those like it looked like a space motorcycle in Jupiter Ascending.
mm.
She was in Sense 8. The
Uh,
woman that plays Kaliki Ambraxis. Um, so basically, Jupiter's daughter, the Abraxas daughter, the first one she meets, the first one of her children, the female she meets, that's an actress that was in Sense 8 as well. Um, and then a lot of those characters in Resurrections were also in Sense 8. So I find that interesting that the Wachowskis love to work with, like for example, Joe Pagliano was in Bound, and he was also in the first two Matrix movies.
mm,
Or I'm sorry, the first one. He wasn't in the second one. He doesn't survive the first one, but um, so oh, and he's also in Sense 8. All
okay.
so so I find that interesting that they love to work with a lot of the same people, so you'll see familiar faces in their stuff. Um, so that's kind of all I had on. And I mean, we could really dig into this stuff, but that's kind of what I have on Resurrections
Yeah,
for my part of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Same here. I had one little I read one theory and doesn't really have to deal with like the whole prison planet stuff. But I read that like Matrix it came out after Dark City. And in the very first Matrix, they reference a man before Neo that like almost like saved everyone and broke out, right? But then he didn't do it. So I read that they could have been tying in the Dark City movie and saying that it was I can't remember his name in Dark City, but they were referencing
Oh yeah,
him.
the main character. Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Uh,
Um, but I saw that. Yeah, I saw that movie years ago, and it that more than anything else, because that's one of those movies that like when you're first, it's unsettling to you the first time you see it, and then it always has that. And what unsettled me is so there's something about infinity because I can't. I mean, yes, I know what it means, but comprehending that, and then Gravity, the movie Gravity, where she's floating out into space, and all she can just see is like right, this like endless. And then same thing when at the end of um Dark City, what does he see? They're floating on some big rock,
yeah,
which we are, like, or supposedly. So, and they look out, they can see, and I'm like, I can't. Like, there's something deeply unnerving to me about that. I don't know why. I don't know if it's, I don't know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, you're right. There is. I forgot about that reference from that. Um, a lot of people say things like that they think that the Matrix ripped off from it a lot from it,
yeah,
as
yeah,
far as the theme anyway.
yeah. It's interesting. I think the two movies came out like a year from each other.
Hmm.
But like I was reading how the universe it sends down these ideas to be put into media and all of that. And I thought it was interesting how it these ideas came down, and we had the Dark City, and then a year later, the Matrix movies. But Dark City didn't get enough like uh, uh, spotlight put on it, so I feel like I don't know, but
Yeah, you're right. It did. I mean,
yeah,
I can remember when it was out of the theaters. It wasn't even out very long.
yeah,
And really, the 13th floor didn't do all that well either.
oh,
It's
yeah,
kind of, to me, that also should, I don't know why people don't throw that movie in too. It should. They all came out relatively about the same time.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think, I think the 13th floor came out the same year that Dark City did, so the year before, and they all kind of deal with, um, that. And I think maybe every once in a while we'll do stuff like this because we have RIPD, right? That movie. So, and maybe what we'll do is we'll include these because we're not gonna. We will have a members page like that's gonna cover deep dives, like say like into um, certain people in our society. Like I did a deep dive on Nicole Kidman, and I want to so we could call it Leash Peddlers for that, for the deep dives on that. But then also, I think we'll maybe do the movie stuff behind that too. So if you want to see our takes on these movies or how they tie in,
yeah,
that'll be for members. And then, but we'll be putting content out there that deals with subjects just for everybody to watch. But um, but yeah, I think we'll definitely talk about Dark City because you watched that. And did you guys actually? Yeah, you watched RIPD, right?
I haven't
Too.
seen that one yet.
Oh,
I
you
was
haven't.
gonna watch it,
Okay,
but then yeah, um, it's on my list though.
very good.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I've seen that people have said that they thought that the Matrix, which to me they were both in production pretty close together.
yeah, yeah,
And granted, so if it came out a year earlier, um, most likely the Wachowskis were already had written and developed uh, or were working on. Um, so I wouldn't say it ripped it off. Obviously, I think it's right. I think there's something in the consciousness of the that
yeah.
was put forward or whatever. I'd like to know. I really would like to know what the Wachowskis, because we do know, and again, people can verify this Freedom of Information Act, but the CIA gives scripts to Hollywood
That's true too.
all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah,
So is the CIA giving the Wachowskis the lowdown, or did they make a deal before they got here? Because they sure do have that. Because I think I mentioned Cloud Outlets earlier. A lot of people should go check that movie out too. Um, but what are they into that they've got these insights? Because the Matrix was something that, other than Dark City, which, like you said, came out the year before, there wasn't there wasn't anything in pop culture that was even hitting on anything like this,
yeah.
where you're trapped and that you're a power source um, for something else. So, and I'm just curious. I haven't found any. I've seen Tony talk about how they have to, like, for some reason, it's like there's 90% truth, 10% BS. Why are they telling on themselves?
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. I mean, nobody. Well, I guess maybe they're doing it because they're getting a laugh because nobody's picking up. I mean, so maybe it's almost like the
yeah.
whole, like, we're putting it right in front of their faces and they don't even know. Maybe they can eat off that too.
Yeah, in a near-death experience that I read, this man came across this like entity and he was like, why, what's the purpose of all of this? And he was like, we like y'all are a source of entertainment for us almost. That's what he was telling the person. Um,
Oh
so I
my
mean
God,
it could be true. Yeah, like ugh, ugh,
that pisses me off.
yeah.
Because I asked my grandmother once about that. I was like, if God's watching all this, right back when um, I was trying to understand from that perspective, I was like, it's sick. How do you sit back and watch? And I'm tired of the whole, well, people have free will. Yeah, a person can still choose to act, but you can intervene in the act. You can still somebody give the choice. Like, for example, if my neighbor wants to choose to beat their dog or their kid, and they do it in front of me, they have the, yeah, they can act on that. They have the free will to act on it. And I have the free will to intervene to protect. So so to me that makes more sense about being their entertainment, because I bet we are. I bet you when somebody hurts their child or hurts an animal or I don't know. I mean, look at the loosh that they're. I mean, can you imagine? Just based off what appears allegedly the worldwide disgusting stuff that's going on among the elites alone, just in one aspect. You don't even have to get into the words of the situation. Yeah, I've got we got to really nail down on these
Yeah.
podcasts like how to get out. I don't want to come back here.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what the entity told them. Entertainment.
Yeah. 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 That's just like one of the many like indies. But yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Let's jump into Jupiter Ascending and
yes, let's
all of
get
your thoughts
into
on
it.
it, on this movie. Um, so tell us kind of what the movie's about, kind of.
Well, basically, you have this family, which interestingly enough, the last name of the family, Bractus, is also the name of the Gnostic. Um, in a way, it's kind of over the demiurge. You don't get there's not a whole lot of direct discussion about Gnosticism, but that God's name is Abraxas. So you have this family that the Abraxas family that is the all powerful. They're running the universe. They're running this corporation in the universe, selling Regenex, which is basically a vial that contains 100 souls in a solution to perpetuate lives. You get to perpetuate, you get to live. So, for example, Kaliki Abraxas tells Jupiter, who is the reincarnation of their mother, um, that, she basically, I have the quote in here, but she basically says that, like, in your world, you fight over resources, money, this, that, and the other. And she goes, but you realize the only resource that's worth anything is time. And then you find out that she's like 14,000 years old. But essentially, what this family does is they own planets. Um, and then they let life perpetuate on a planet for a while until it's going to be profitable for them to basically, quote, harvest. And what they're doing is harvesting the souls to create this Regenex product. And there's 3 children. You've got Balaam, who's the oldest, um, Titus, who's the youngest, and then Kalik, who actually Kalik. Did you get the impression is Kalik the oldest, the female, or was Titus the oldest? I
Oh,
think
I thought it
I
was
think
Titus.
I think he's the. I mean, not Titus. I'm sorry, Balaam.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Balaam's the oldest. So, but anyway, and Jupiter is born on Earth. She reincarnates on Earth. And then the whole movie, it basically these, I call them her bastard children because they never mention a father, but also they're just the most. I mean, I guess out of all of them, you could say the daughter was the least, but she's still squirmy because the whole goal is they want her to sign over her. Basically, they want the planet Earth. They want, and she was apparently the one that owned that planet. Upon her death, Balaam, the eldest son, gets it. And then there's this whole, once they realize she's reincarnated, they're trying to dupe her or just kill her outright to basically have ownership of the planet. And then you have, and then that from there is where you get into, there's reptilians, which I found that like, you have the whole mix of everything. You have reptilians, you have little insectoid things too, which we've talked about stuff like that before.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have the grays, but the grays look like demons. Like they have these demonic, the faces have like these demonic features to them, and they move like what you see demons move like as they are portrayed in movies. So that's kind of basically the whole, the whole movie in a nutshell is the children trying to get her basically their inheritance. Um, and then also Jupiter trying to get away from all of that and retain her own uh, not only awareness and remembering, because there's that too. She's got to remember who she was, right, or at least take that power back. And uh, um, and also coming to terms with who she really is. So those were some of the that's kind of basically the plot of Jupiter Ascending. But
Yeah.
I do like how they incorporated all of that because um, there is hypothesized that there is a reptilian alien race that exists, and so I like the fact that they incorporated that into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it, but overall, like, what do you think they got right, and what do you think they got wrong?
Um, so I think that definitely the part about harvesting energy and all of that, thought that was pretty spot on. And it made me think of, have you ever heard of the law of Ra or the law of one?
I'm just getting ready to read that.
Okay,
By
yeah.
the way,
So it was,
the law of law is actually a little bit in the gate. What was it? Stargate that you're going to even eventually look up.
oh,
So that
yeah.
they did a little bit into it, but not much.
Okay. So in like the 80s, these three people, they pretty much channeled a bunch of information from Raw and they like recorded it. But along the way, the lady who was like channeling all the information, she was getting so like heavily like attacked and possessed by like entities. Um, so they had to like put a pause on all of it. Um, but in the law of Ra, they commonly it's like a bunch of new age stuff. Um, but they talk about a harvest and how eventually they're going to do a harvest and we're going to this is where like the new earth we're ascending into 5D. It's kind of where I think it got some of its roots maybe. Um, but they talk about a harvest where they're going to take pretty much all of the good souls that are ready to move into this like new realm. But that's what the message they're trying to put off. But they're constantly using the word like harvest, harvest, harvest. And it never sat right with me. And now I know that they're actually talking about like harvesting our energy, our souls, all of that. Um,
Hmm.
but it's kind of it, I don't know, it made me think of that. Um, and yeah, what do you think about that? Or um, what are some of your thoughts on harvesting part in that aspect?
That's yeah. I think it makes sense. Like um, because I spent years in therapy, and I remember my therapist saying, "That's where you put your focus on." I'm like, "Yeah, we that's true. You don't have to. I don't have to focus on what's going on in another country, or that that we're using words like um, the basically innocent casualties."
Okay.
Or there's another term, the first term, I can't think of the first word right now, but it just sounds so business-like. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't have to focus on that. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a, even that idea of that new age BS of, like, okay, so they're saying like it's going to be a new Earth, but it's still going to exist within this one. Well, guess what? Then it's not new. It's not new. The same shit's still going to be going on. It's just they basically all you're going to do is put your head in the sand like an ostrich and not pay attention. That's what the whole goal is. Because I've never heard. I don't know about you. Haven't heard any of them actually say that they're actually physically leaving here and going to 5D. No, I've heard that it's just that they'll be in 5D and everybody else will be in 3D, right? But one still
One of
exists within the other. So
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole community that thinks that they're actually like they're going to disappear from like the two dimensions, two Earths are going to
sounds
split.
a lot like the Christian rapture, doesn't it? Just the,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, like it's so frustrating how do we not? We just keep making up stories to tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And all of these movies, by the way, speaking of this, um, all promote the same idea. Neo is the hero in the first one. We have to have a savior. He's the savior in the first one.
Oh yeah.
And then Neo and Trinity together are the heroes or saviors in the second one. Jupiter, at no point in time do any of these actually ever talk about, even while they're telling you the truth, they're still saying that you're still a pathetic little thing that can't do shit for yourself. And
Yeah.
you need something, you need the 5D, you need a savior, you need Neo, you need this, you need that. And it's like, no wonder why we're um, like children,
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly told,
Yeah.
well, you can't save yourself. You need something else. You need something outside of yourself because you can't do it.
Yeah. Do you know how that started in the media? It started in like the 40s and 50s. They started doing that with Western films that like, oh, these people needed to be saved. And it really started programming people for this like false hope and also like that they are small and can't do it themselves. And it just like it kept expanding and
Exactly.
growing over time to where we kind of have like this the story of the hero's journey. But
Which all of these also focus on a lot of
yeah,
that too.
yeah,
And it, I mean, I think you're right, and I think it also that same narrative that you just told about that you need a hero and all that stuff, and that people need something. It also in media. Have you noticed that there's so much emphasis? Um, and again, anything I say, I will always, you can always look it up and back up the information. And please don't, please do take, like, please look it up and don't take my word for everything. But the US has 800 bases around the world and probably more like 2 to 300 that we don't know about. And that includes underground shit here in this country that people don't know about. So, for reference, think about this country always talks about the terrorism that's elsewhere outside of the world. We're the ones in other people's countries. The next country that has bases, right? You know how many bases China has around the world? None. You know how many Russia have around the world? Two. That's interesting. We're the only country that does that. And so to that statement, haven't you noticed that like we're also the narrative is we're the ones that have to go spread democracy everywhere and save the world. We're
yeah,
gonna save you and save the world. Look at how many of the films are like superhero or there's a military shit behind it, like Mission Impossible stuff or whatever.
yeah,
So you have that component to it too, as far as um, I mean, and even in Jupiter Ascending, the guy that is part dog. I don't even know why that's in it. That seemed weird to me. That
yeah.
whole
The
story, that
lichen.
part, I didn't care for it. I was
Yeah,
like, well, I guess in the sense of it is interesting that because they did gene splicing to create him. So I guess in that sense, it's interesting because I'm sure that they're doing stuff with our genes. I don't even think the
yeah.
version of human that we are now was what the version of human was even.
Oh no, no.
We've been messed with, we've been genetically messed with. So, by something, let alone what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
But, um, but yeah, like he's military
Hmm.
part of, and they have, once again, you can't have anything in at any point in time without war and some military bullshit. So again, if that's the case, I wonder what it is as above so below. I mean, Tony Sayers talks about like there's whole bureaucratic processing centers and police forces and everything else,
Oh,
possibly.
astral
So
cities.
it's like, you know, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't want to carry that with me because I don't want to experience it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah,
I don't want to deal with it. So I don't want to carry that with me. But I just found that interesting in Jupiter ascending that um, I mean, the Aegis is a group of people that those are like the law enforcement of space.
yeah, yeah,
So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't think to me that the whole. well, they get into reincarnation too, which I guess technically the Matrix does as well by virtue of the fact that Neo existed before.
Yeah.
But they almost just make that sound it's just like a digital occurrence, like right, he's just an occurrence in the quote scheme of things, whereas she's actual like a physical like
Reincarnation.
yeah
Yeah.
of the um other than that, I just thought it really kind of highlighted that like there's this family because it you gave me I don't know if you ever you yourself watched it, but you gave me um a link to a YouTube video with that remote viewer guy who had remote viewed and he was saying that like he from what they see that there are these three beings that were um he said I don't know that they were necessarily human but they were organic and they weren't eternal and they figured out how to like create the system or whatever
Yeah.
and that they're the ones that like that so those three beings actually live like the Abraxas family.
Mm.
They're immortal because of our energy and all of the stuff that you talk about, like um, the entity, like they created all of that to run the prison. And he said, like, and they know that we remote view them, like they'll see us watching them, but that they look back and like they just stare at you like you're nothing,
Yeah.
like you don't like you're insignificant, you don't matter. And
Yeah.
so I just found that fascinating. That the way that the Braxis family is portrayed as being the sole, you know, the top hierarchical part of. Basically, they're the Rothschilds of space. That
Yeah.
family, of the Rothschilds, essentially,
Yeah.
um, and those beings. Well, and you have three. You know, it's two girls and a boy, and that guy remote viewed. They remote viewed three, and he's not the only one. Other people have seen him too. So, um,
Yeah.
so I thought that those are the things that, and then the fact that I don't know that I think the reason I'm kind of acting blah about Jupiter settings it pissed me off because it starts off with them on that planet that with the blue sand,
Yeah.
the three of them are there,
Yeah.
and they just have you ever been to a harvest? Oh no, but I hear it doesn't hurt them. It's just this whole nonchalant. Yeah, we just fucking ate a planet of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Who cares? And so it's like if that's really what's going on,
Like we're just animals. Like,
yeah,
and then yeah, we're animals, and then a lot of us have the same thoughts to like farm animals. So
I
it's
was
just
just,
like this
yeah,
little, yeah. Yeah, you ready for my quotes?
yes, let's have
Okay,
them.
so it goes in with what you're talking about. So Balim, Abrasax, um, this is when he's talking to Jupiter and he throws up his hands and says, I create life. He says it all mad. He says, and I destroy it. Life is an act of consumption, Jupiter. To live is to consume. Now, the human beings on your planet are merely a resource waiting to be converted into capital. And this entire enterprise is just a small part in a vast and beautiful machine defined by evolution, designed to a single purpose to create profit. So then another quote by him, he goes, My mother made me understand that every human society is a pyramid and that some lives will always matter more than others. It's better to accept this than to pretend it isn't true. Um, I think that ties into what you were talking about earlier with,
Yeah,
um, yeah, like the um, rich people and just that whole pyramid there.
and then we all fall for it. We're all like,
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing. It's one thing if we have to be in prison, but um, do we have to make it so shitty? I mean, you know, but anyway, yeah, I get told all the time I'm an idealist, and and people act like I'm supposed to be. I'm not offended by it at all. I'm like, yes, of course I am, and I'm proud of it because if you're going to strive for something, you should. always, you'll never, just because you won't actually achieve the ideal, you should always strive for it. So yes, I'm an idealist, um, and especially like, you know, what the way that things are, it's kind of like when I die, I'm gonna have the ideal version of events. If I have the opportunity to, I mean, I'm doing it every day in my life, like kind of like how you would do a will if you're living. This is what I want, and setting those. And so, of course, yes, I'm going to have the ideal as my goal in that. Um, so,
Yeah, yeah. I heard in Howdy Mikowski's book, he talks about how an idea that we could do is towards, if we're dying from old age or from something that we have time to prepare for, that we could use, like we could record affirmations and different intentions to listen to as we're slowly preparing ourselves for the journey after we die.
oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And it could also be like we can write a will for, we write a regular will for all of our physical things, but we can also write like a spiritual will as well, like where we plan to go and rid ourselves from and like all of that. And really like prepare ourselves for the journey, along with the right environment and people and everything like that. So that this can be like our last time incarnating here, and so we don't have to come back anymore.
that makes total sense. I mean, have you heard Tony ever? I just, it was something he said. It's been mentioned in a few of his episodes on YouTube,
Yeah.
but he says things like, one was not something somebody asked him. He was talking about how people are just focused on having a good time. What's like, and distraction, distraction. What's next? What's next? He's like, I'm not here to have a good time. He's like, I'm not here to have a good time. I'm not here to be comfortable. I'm not here to. He's like, my goal is to not to come back,
Yeah.
to be a part of this. And if you think about it, even the religions kind of tell you that in a way, be in the world, not of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Be grateful. Be grateful. But yeah, be in the world, not of the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, why is it telling you that? Probably because you should be focused on not what brand of shoes you have on, or um, all of the, or I don't know, being 75 years old and trying to look 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's stupid. I mean, or literally putting silicone in your chest. Again, everybody has the right to do it. I'm just saying, why? There's better things to use money on than, um, again, to make it less of a
Yeah, yeah.
the
But you know what though? I'm gonna raise that a little bit. I'm going to say if you so of course like this uh we want to escape, right? But if you know that this is your intention is to have your last life here on Earth, like you should make it a point to try to do all the earthly desires you have. So like if you've always had a dream to go to Japan, make that happen while you're here and make have no desires when you exit like the physical.
I
Uh
think you want to. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
Yes, I mean like of course I know what you're saying about like the plastic surgery, but
No, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Because that could be used to see what I mean.
Yeah.
Everything
There's
could
so much to
actually.
it.
There's
Yeah.
always a perspective where you go, oh, but that, oh, but that. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. But of
That's what
course,
you got to do with
with
the
that
world.
comes the truth. With that comes the truth that the, the harsh realities of what this world actually is. And yeah, it's not being blinded by, oh, distractions. Oh, I need to make myself beautiful. Like, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I like I said, you can always see it from. That's why I think it's important. Like people do. Yeah, I could have started a podcast by myself, but um, I mean that's like I'm all about people being empowered. Um, but it's also and being knowledgeable, and I do a lot of I do a lot of research, and I don't have asked to do this, but it's also nice to because I'm not going to get everything. I
Yeah,
don't have all the answers. Nobody does,
yeah,
and neither one of us are proclaiming that. But like, I mean, that's why we're not doing the ads and stuff like that either. We want people to have agency. We want you thinking. We want you. I want to hear like we want to hear ideas too, not just our own.
yeah,
But um, I told Devin I don't. I mean, she wasn't for it or anything. But when we talked about doing this, it was like if we make it where they you guys are forced to watch ads, then we're taking like nobody wants to watch them, and we're taking your agency and your choice away. That you have to subject yourself to that.
yeah,
So, you know, I was like, so we're all about um, because again, it's going to take different perspectives. It's going to take um, you know, and that's how you grow. If you just don't expand your mind and don't listen, despite what is in modern times most encouraged to stay in your own little groups and your own little social media groups and talk about how much you hate this and how much you like that. I think that having something like this where people get to hey, have you guys seen this? And have you considered this? Or have you looked? I go, that's how we do all the time. We're
yeah,
constantly sharing texts with each other. Hey, did you see this? Did you? I mean, I learned from you. I've listened to Hotel California. I'm 53. That song came out before I was born, or shortly after. I was young when it came out, and had no idea that I always thought it was just about the whole entertainment industry and what that could do, and had no inkling or thought that it could also be about this place.
yeah,
And so that goes to show you you can learn something new, even though you've been familiar with something your whole life and see it in a new way. So, any
yeah.
more quotes on there about Jupiter?
Oh, yeah, I have one more quote, but then I also wanted to add like for anyone that's watching this, to do your own research and use your own discernment. And
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that we have to share, hopefully can like open you up to new ideas, new concepts, a new way of thinking. But really, like, it comes down to you having to research and discover these things for yourself. But yeah,
The
um,
problem from the simulation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I think in the Matrix, like he had to wake himself up too. Like he could only follow bugs, but ultimately it's up to each person themselves to wake themselves up. Um, so yeah. My other quote, my last quote that I have is from Titus, who's another one of the brothers. He's the one that is gonna marry Jupiter to
Yeah.
trick her and then kill her, to get Earth. But he says,
It's like if you're the mom of these bastards, these
yeah,
kids,
oh my gosh,
and just wanting to outright kill you.
man.
I don't know what Kaliki's intention was. I don't know if she's just going to try to get her to sign over or the daughter, or if she was actually going to intend to. Like they never fleshed that out. Speaking of, but
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. Uh, but it's by Titus, and he goes, lies are a necessity. They are the source of meaning, of belief and hope. Honestly, lies are sometimes the only reason I get out of bed. So, in this world that we live in, there are lies and layers to everything. Everything is inverted, you know. Everything has a little bit of truth and a lot of lies mixed into it. Um, and it's how they control us, how they trick us. He's in the movie, he's the one about to harvest everyone. He has so much power and control, talking about how lies are a necessity to share. So yeah, what were your thoughts on that? And
I mean, yeah, that I think it has. I think for me, that the thing that I thought of when you said that was, dude. So I don't know what your specific religious background was. Mine was mostly, Catholic Christian.
Yeah.
And so from their point of view, it was always like they've talked about, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but basically like beware of the false prophet or false teacher. But in the New Age movement, they've talked about the false light, right? And the funny thing is, I always thought that that was in the physical. Beware of be like, again, watch out for your Jim Jones types, like that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think that that's what it was referencing, right? Because again, you gotta tell that 90, there's some truth in the stuff, the lies that they tell you. And so when he said that, I kept thinking about the that's what kept coming to my mind,
Yeah.
was before the false light. And I was like, it's the false light of the light when we die. That's what you have to be careful of. And
Yeah.
not going down that rabbit hole of wherever that takes you. Because if you're already, and the reason that you would have to be careful of it here is because if you're holding on to whatever religious view when you die, guess what? That's probably, yeah, you probably will see Jesus, but is it the Jesus? And is he going to tell you after so long, like, hey, your paradise was only, yeah, go back and do it again? So that's what I thought of when he said that. Was I kept thinking about the false light. I don't know why that kept popping in my head while he told her that, but yeah, I distinctly remember that when I was watching it. It's like, beware the false light,
Yeah.
the lies, because and that the prevalence of it, of dishonesty. I mean, we see it all the time with cults, right? Like, you got the twin flames; they're just now under investigation right now, and then there's another.
The
Oh, the
oh
Seven
wait, the
M just got,
Twin Flame University?
yeah, and then
They're under
Seven.
investigation. Oh, sorry. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and then 7M just got raided today.
I
One of
saw
their
that.
houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about liars.
Mm.
There are, and we'll at some point probably we're gonna talk about psychics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just blatant. Like, oh, I'm a healer, really? Because I've never seen any of those people have. I haven't heard of any of them actually. You'll hear them heal somebody's allergies. Maybe, oh, the cancer went away. Okay, great. But if you guys are really healers, if we brought somebody with Down syndrome or who was born with cerebral palsy, they don't heal that. I've
Yeah.
never heard. And but they'll tell you, I don't know, it's just the level to which you've got to be, you really have to the thing that you're basically encouraging everybody to do, to be sovereign, to be discerning.
Yeah.
You have to be this day and age. And for that quote, I mean, where do you see that? How do you see that quote?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same ways you see it. But the part that stuck out to me again, because it's just so deeply embedded for us. Talking about lies, they are a source of meaning, of belief and hope. There's the word hope again. Like we just, I don't know, like we just have it so deeply embedded in us to like want to see things turn around, or we have hope for things one day getting better. I've been saying this for like ever, like, okay, things are bad now, but they're going to get better, and we're looking towards like external things, like, okay, things are bad, but when this new politician gets elected, it'll get better. Then they get elected and it doesn't get better, and it's just lies. And like one day our savior is going to come. Okay, like but when, you know um always looking for this, like, that hope. So
Yeah,
that's what
Tony calls it hopium.
hopium. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a
This
drug.
is what you want to
Like a
talk
drug.
about. I saw that was one of the subjects that you had an episode on, was hopium.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, it is.
yeah,
I guess we do. I guess that's why, because even though, like I said, we just met in June, we get along like we've known each other for a long time. And I guess that's why, because we have a lot of the same, um, like, yeah, the same interpretations of stuff or whatever. And
Yeah.
maybe I was thinking about what you said the other day when you go, you think that those of us that are sick of it have been here a lot, have been coming a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true because I like if you mention this to, I have a friend, um, and I doubt he'll ever see that. I'm not even telling him about the channel because I think it would freak him out. It would scare him. But he's a really great guy. He's really nice, but very conservative. And this stuff would just totally. He'd either think that I need an exorcism, or that I'm going to be going to hell, or um, and he certainly can't even entertain any of it for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
So and he says he's like I have to have some hope,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, why is a blood god your hope? See, they don't.
Whole other episode. Whew.
I
Yeah.
mean, they don't even. I don't understand how so any blood sacrifice is automatically satanic unless God sends His Son. Then it's not satanic. It's still a blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's a blood sacrifice, and so. And I will say this: I'm not saying that to offend people. And if you're Christian or anybody's watching has those tendencies, you don't have to watch this video. You don't have to pray for me. And I'm not saying you can't believe in that. I'm just saying from my perspective, and I'm entitled to that perspective, there's no difference. Blood sacrifice is blood sacrifice. The intent behind it doesn't matter. It's still blood and it's still gross, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just my view on it. But yeah,
Yes.
he couldn't handle. A lot of people can't. They would rather um, be blissed. I do think it's a form of being blissed out for whatever reason. Like because this stuff is. I remember recently when I come to it's hard to. I mean, I'm saying because this is very recent for me. It's hard to give up your God, even if you weren't following the path. It's almost it's really just to just realize like you got to figure this out on your own. Praying to somebody who isn't there isn't going to get you out of this. And we can help each other, but I'm not going to be standing when I die. I'm not going to be standing right next to you or whoever else that I talk to. I'm going to be by myself.
Yeah.
And that weight of that, I get it. Nobody who wants to accept that or even entertain the thought of that because it's really disheartening. Like you said earlier, it is really, it doesn't feel good. I get that. But if you want to keep coming here and going through this, then those are your options. You can either just keep coming here or accept that you're going to have to put on um, you're gonna put your underwear, your socks, your shoes on, and get yourself dressed and take care, like, and deal with it and face it,
Yeah.
and then try to figure it out from there. But yeah, that was I mean, it does kind of take your hope away, right? Like of the your false hope, your hope in false things. I think the hope should be, as you say, and I agree with you, it comes from within and you and what you are
Yeah.
versus it being an outward expression.
Definitely. That's very important to point out. Yeah. Yeah. Stop placing the hope on the what ifs, the future, or anything external. Yeah, you're so right. And like, yeah, go within. Go within 110%. Because like uh we've been taught that we're powerless and like that we can't I don't know that we're powerless when really like we are so powerful. We're so powerful. We just have to go within, connect to our inner self, our divine essence. Um, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, are there any other points that you want to bring up about the Jupiter ascending movie?
No, I think like we were talking about earlier, that sorry, I'm stretching. I think it was one of my, I mean, I liked it, okay, but it was my, out of everything that we're looking into, out of these three movies, it was my least favorite of all of them. Actually, in general, I think it's my least favorite of House of Film too. Um, so, um, I'm pretty much, I think that pretty much covers it for me. And
Yeah.
if we're getting ready to sign off, I'm going to say for everybody out there, I might always sign off. My sign, consistent sign off is always going to be stop peddling douche. Go out and be the best version of yourself you can be, and don't give anything any reason to. Don't give food to these things that are here. You
Yeah.
know, they might be able to feed off the positive stuff too, but I don't think that's as tasty. But don't be a loosh peddler, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right.
anything you want to add? Because I think I'm pretty much covered everything that I wanted to put
Yeah.
across.
Yeah. Um, I think I'm pretty good. I think we've covered a lot today, a lot, and I'm excited
Me
um,
too.
to get this uploaded as our first episode and for all the other awesome episodes we have coming out.
Sounds good. All right.
All right,
Well,
good.
I'm good. Are you good
Yeah.
with that? All right. Well, we'll see everybody next time we do a video.
Yeah. All right. Bye.